Disney's upcoming live-action Snow White is shaping up to be a total disaster. And honestly, I can't wait. Not to watch it, but to see just how badly it flops. Every decision Disney has made with this movie has been a misstep, and Rachel Zegler's involvement has only made things worse. It's almost impressive how quickly she's managed to derail her own career. The latest box office projections as of February 21st paint a grim picture. Snow White is expected to open domestically with just $65 to $85 million, and internationally, the outlook isn't any better. Of course, anything could happen. Maybe it surprises everyone, but based on Zegler's track record at the box office, I wouldn't count on it. Even Disney seems to realize they're in trouble, and now they're scrambling to salvage what they can. What's truly hilarious is how blatantly they're backpedaling. For months, Disney pushed the narrative that the original Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was outdated, problematic, and in need of a modern update. But after seeing the backlash, they've suddenly shifted gears, desperately trying to embrace nostalgia, acting as if this is some faithful remake when we all know that's not true. Zegler herself played a huge role in killing goodwill for this movie. Within a week of being cast, she openly trashed the 1937 classic, calling the prince a creepy stalker, mocking the original romance, and dismissing the very story that made this film possible. And now, Disney expects audiences to believe this is a heartfelt tribute? The hypocrisy is staggering. Two recent developments have made things even worse. First, a new teaser trailer dropped, not on YouTube, but on X, formerly Twitter. That's a red flag. Studios typically avoid YouTube when they're worried about backlash, and Disney seems to know exactly what's coming. The trailer is carefully crafted to resemble the original animated film, something Disney has never done with its live-action remakes before. They know they've lost control of the narrative, so now they're selling nostalgia in a desperate attempt to win people back. Second, Zegler's past controversial comments have resurfaced, reminding everyone why so many were turned off from this movie in the first place. Social media is already tearing the film apart, and it's clear that Disney underestimated just how much damage their lead actress has done to its reputation. This entire situation is a textbook case of how not to market a film. Disney thought they could rewrite a beloved classic, mock its legacy, and still convince audiences to show up. But with these weak box office projections, it looks like they're about to learn a very expensive lesson.
Magic mirror on.
Disney is desperately trying to rewrite the narrative around Snow White, suddenly pushing the idea that this is a faithful, one-to-one remake of the 1937 classic. But we all know that's not true. Just look at the new trailer, especially the way it's formatted for TikTok. It's designed to mislead casual viewers who might not realize just how drastically different this movie actually is. One of the biggest changes? Snow White's name now comes from a snowstorm. Seriously, the fairest one of all is no longer named for her fair skin. Disney might think this trick will work for opening weekend, if it even works, but once audiences catch on, word will spread fast. This is not a faithful remake, and it never was. Let's be honest, none of Disney's so-called live-action remakes have been exact copies of the originals. The Lion King was the closest, but even that had major changes. But this movie, it's practically unrecognizable. If you only watched this latest trailer, you might think, oh wow, they're finally doing a true live-action remake. Nope. And now, Disney has released a new featurette, about 1 minute and 58 seconds long, and guess what? They're using the same trick they did with the 30-second teaser. They're leaning hard into nostalgia, hoping people forget everything they've said over the past year. But audiences aren't that easy to fool. No matter how Disney tries to package it, this Snow White is not the one fans love. And no amount of marketing magic can change that.
Whoa. Who's the fairest one of all?
Disney is now suddenly all about loving the original Snow White. Not so weird anymore, huh, Rachel? After months of calling the 1937 classic outdated and problematic, they're backtracking hard. They know exactly where they stand, deep in trouble. And Zegler? She's got to be sweating bullets because if this movie flops, it could be the final nail in the coffin for her leading lady career. Maybe she'll still land supporting roles, but as the face of a major blockbuster? Not a chance. This would be her fourth or fifth flop in a row, and Hollywood doesn't hand out second chances forever. And let's talk about the costume design and set pieces. Disney just dropped a new featurette, desperately trying to convince people they've stayed true to the original film. But let's be real, they're only sprinkling in a few references here and there, hoping fans won't notice how different this movie actually is. It's all smoke and mirrors. Just look at the major changes. Snow White's name? Now it comes from a snowstorm. That's right. Her parents supposedly named her after a weather event instead of her fair complexion. And the magic mirror? It doesn't even judge beauty anymore. Now it's all about internal beauty. Because of course they had to shove in modern twists, even when they don't make sense. But even with these forced updates, the visuals still fall flat. The sets and costumes lack the timeless charm of the original, and audiences are not impressed. Social media is already tearing into Rachel Zegler's performance, and people aren't buying Disney's sudden nostalgia act. Disney thought they could rewrite a beloved classic, mock its legacy, and still get audiences to show up. But now, they're learning the hard way that fans aren't so easily fooled.
The original Snow White, it didn't break the mold, it created the mold. Somehow Walt Disney connects to something inside of us, a kind of childlike wonder and optimism.
There's so much from this animated movie that we have taken from and used in our own.
Disney's Snow White is shaping up to be a disaster, and the backlash just keeps getting worse. At this point, it's safe to say that Rachel Zegler is not a Hollywood star. Her reputation has taken a massive hit, and this movie isn't doing her any favors. But what's even more telling is how the latest Snow White featurette is getting absolutely ratioed from the start. The numbers speak for themselves: 148K views, only 3.5K upvotes, and a staggering 19K downvotes. That's an overwhelming rejection from audiences. And if you check the top comments, it's like the internet has unanimously decided to roast this movie into oblivion. One standout comment perfectly captures how people feel about Zegler. Whenever Rachel speaks, it's like having a soul monster invade the conversation. Ouch. That's brutal. But it doesn't stop there. Fans are actually rooting for Gadoo, a minor character who, despite having little significance, seems to embody more of the fairy tale spirit than the actual Snow White. One viral comment even jokes, "I'm rooting for Gadoo in the poison apple role. What a twist." Imagine that. People are more invested in a side character than the heroine of the film. And here's the real kicker. Disney started its animated empire with Snow White, and now it looks like they might just end their live-action remake era with Snow White as well. Some fans are even saying that Gadoo is the only reason they'd consider watching this movie. Others are taking the mockery a step further, suggesting that the film doesn't just need a race swap, it needs a full cast swap. That tells you everything you need to know about how people feel. This isn't just a minor flop in the making. This could be the final nail in the coffin for Disney's live-action remakes. The cracks in their strategy have been showing for a while now, and this disaster might be the moment everything crumbles. Just look at Mulan, 2020. Massive budget, tons of marketing, yet it failed to make an impact at the box office. The same thing happened with The Little Mermaid, 2023, which underperformed overseas despite Disney's best efforts to spin it as a success. Disney hasn't learned from its mistakes, and now they're heading straight for another embarrassment. They thought they could tear down a beloved classic, mock its legacy, and still get audiences to show up. But that's not how this works. Fans love these original films for a reason.
Are genuinely feeling like the movie is set to be a catastrophe for Disney. Mufasa, the recent live-action flick, didn't do anything remarkable at the box office, and now they're thinking this could be the final nail in the coffin for Disney's live-action reboots.